Welcome to Blueprints Unsealed, a series of reflections and thought depicting a life and times of society's most influential people, ideas, and culture. Our greatest downfall is that we are forgetful, easily distracted, and we tend to lose sight of what is important. Sometimes we ask brilliant questions, but we fail to scrutinize inadequate responses. And finally, we only see value in things that are hidden, but we take for granted things that are in plain sight. However, we are not a lost cause. In fact, the cure for forgetfulness is simply a reminder that we are part of something much greater and we must continue our pursuit of knowledge. Like Galileo once said, all truths are easy to understand once they are discovered. The point is to discover them. James Clerk Maxwell, one of the greatest scientists of his time. In fact, he is considered by many as the father of modern physics. Maxwell discovered the equation of electricity and magnetism. It allowed him to describe light, and as a consequence, he correctly predicted that visible light is caused by electromagnetic waves. This discovery was groundbreaking, and it paved the way for Albert Einstein to come up with his famous theory of relativity. However, not a lot of people knew that he was also working on concepts that would have changed our understanding of physics, perhaps for the better. Maxwell suggested that certain problems in physics could be solved by accounting for some phenomena as being 3D reflections existing in higher spatial dimensions. In other words, this may imply that we may be part of a vast multiverse system, and certain things that are so elusive in nature, such as light, water, and consciousness, may just be reflections of a higher dimension. This concept is important. Consider that we live in a three-dimensional space, but whenever you look at your reflection, just remember that the reflection is being shown on a two-dimensional surface. Therefore, it would never be able to interact with you the way that a real person would. Try it. Touch the mirror and realize that all you will feel is the flat surface, no matter where you touch it. Unfortunately, this notion was discarded by the scientific community, mainly because they believe that this theory cannot be tested, even though Maxwell vehemently believed that his assertions could indeed be tested and proven. However, we soon came to face new challenges that is forcing scientists to relook at Maxwell's hyperdimensional concept. For a long time, scientists has been struggling to come up with a plausible solution of how gravity is actually formed. You would think that in the modern era that we would know all there is surrounding it. However, gravity is one of the biggest mysteries in science. For starters, it is the weakest universal force there is, and for a while, scientists believe that the greater the size of a galaxy, the stronger the force of gravity would be exerted. But strangely, when they measured this effect, this was not the case. In fact, scientists believe that the universe only accounts for 5% of the total gravity calculated, and they cannot account for the remaining 95% of it. Since then, some popular theories suggest that gravity may be a force that may be manifesting itself from a higher spatial dimension. And if that is the case, this may explain why gravity is such a weak force, and it may help pinpoint where the remaining 95% dwells. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many other examples of particles and forces that seem to be operating at different frequencies that we are unfamiliar with. Astral projection is a form of an out of body experience. People have described the sensation of floating outside the physical body and traveling to an alternate dimension. These experiences has been reported for centuries throughout the world. However, psychiatrists claim that these are nothing more than hallucinations caused by disassociation with reality. They can be brought on by hallucinogenic drugs or brain trauma. So case closed, right? Of course not. In fact, A psychic by the name of Ingo Swann, who worked with prominent figures at Stanford University, caught the attention of the CIA when he proposed an experiment called remote viewing, which is a process in which viewers will view a location given nothing but its geographical coordinates. The CIA was so impressed with this idea that they ended up funding the entire research. One of his most mind-blowing experiments involved the remote viewing of Jupiter. During his extrasensory perception voyage, he claimed to have seen rings around Jupiter, something that scientists was not able to determine at that moment. However, when NASA finally sent probes into space to survey the planet Jupiter, they were astonished to learn that Mr. Swann's assertions were correct. Methuselah, probably one of the most strangest anomalies in our galaxy. The star is estimated to be 14.3 billion years old, which presents a unique problem. The universe is only estimated to be around 14 billion years old. So how could a star actually be older than the universe itself? Well, the short answer is no one knows. The age of the star was determined using the same methodologies used to measure the age of all the stars that have been mapped in the universe. And after many iterations and recalculations, the age of the star is still older than the universe. But let's say that the star was the same age of the universe. What is weird is that the star is blue shifted and has a high velocity. This indicates the presence of a powerful core. The fact that this is not a dying star only complicates the issue. To put this into perspective, our sun is a third-generation star, and it has been in existence for over a quarter of the age of the entire universe. This would be equivalent to a person that is 400 years of age that has a body of a teenager. Some scientists are saying that the math is obviously wrong, but this should be approached with much caution, because to say that the calculations are wrong implies that the calculations that was used for everything else is also wrong. Perhaps this could be a situation where the star is a product from another dimension. I'm not saying that the evidence supports this, but what is the alternative here? Black holes are perhaps the most scariest things in the universe. In fact, the concept of a black hole is where Albert Einstein's theory of relativity will begin to break apart. At the center of our galaxy lies a humongous black hole, but new science research suggests that black holes are also spread out across the galaxy, and the closest black hole to Earth may lurk just beyond Neptune in the outer solar system. For some time, scientists have speculated that there must be a planet beyond Neptune that is causing a strong gravitational effect on objects in our solar system. That would make sense if there is a planet at least 10 times the size of Earth. However, scientists is having a hard time locating this planet, which by all accounts should not be this hard to locate. However, scientists speculate that a primordial black hole, which is basically smaller black holes that can be the size of a bowling ball, but will have the same gravitational effect of a planet that is 10 times the size of Earth. Modern science may be in a crisis today, not because scientists are incapable of conducting actual research, but to the contrary, when experiments turn out to be something they wasn't planning or something that doesn't fit their model, they tend to disregard those facts. The point of the scientific method is to ensure that data and research findings are objective. I think it's time for leaders of the scientific community to reshape how information and research findings are shared with the public. When you think about it, the role of leadership is to ensure that all objective evidence is presented, and not for them to choose which evidence we get to see, because the latter approach is a game full of deceit and mistrust. Thanks for watching. Please consider supporting the channel by hitting the like button and subscribing.